We will start with the Three Refuges. I go for refuge to Buddha, my deeply awakened mind, the living source of understanding and compassion, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to Dharma, the path of mindful living, leading to healing, joy, and enlightenment, the way of peace, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I go for refuge to the Sangha, the loving and supportive community of practice, realizing harmony, awareness, and liberation, which must be cultivated to be known fully. I am aware that the three jewels are within my heart. I vow to realize them. I vow to understand living beings and their suffering. I vow to cultivate loving kindness and compassion and to practice joy and equanimity. I vow to live simply and sanely, content with few possessions, and to keep my body healthy. I vow to let go of all worry and anxiety in order to be light and free. I am aware that I owe so much to my parents, teachers, friends, and all beings. I vow to be worthy of their trust, to practice wholeheartedly, so that understanding and compassion will flower, and I can help living beings be freed from their suffering. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. May the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha support my efforts. And now we will recite the Heart Sutra. Dhamma Prajna Aramita Vedaya Sutra. The Bodhisattva of great compassion, from the deep practice of prajna, paramita, perceived the emptiness of all five skandhas and delivered all beings from their suffering. O Shariputra, form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is emptiness, emptiness form. The same is true of feeling, thought, impulse, and consciousness. O Shariputra, all dharmas are empty. They are not born nor annihilated. They are not defiled nor immaculate. They do not increase nor decrease. So in emptiness, no form, no feeling, no thought, no impulse, no consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no form, sound, smell, taste, touch, or objects of mind, no realm of sight, no realm of consciousness, no ignorance, nor extinction of ignorance, no old age and death, nor extinction of them, no suffering, no cause of suffering, no cease from suffering, no path to lead out of suffering, no knowledge, no attainment, no realization, for there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva holds on to nothing but prajna paramita. Therefore, the mind is clear of any delusive hindrance. Without hindrance, there is no fear. Away from all perverted views, one reaches final nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future, through faith in prajna paramita, attain to the highest perfect enlightenment. Know then the prajna paramita is the great Dharani, the radiant, fearless mantra, the utmost supreme mantra, which is capable of allaying all pain. This is true beyond all doubt. Proclaim now the highest wisdom, the prajna paramita. Gate, gate, para gate, Samgate, Bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para Samgate, Bodhisvaha. Gate, gate, para Samgate, Bodhisvaha. Dhamma prajna paramita Hridaya Sutra. And now we will begin the ceremony for the ordination of Yong Su Mark Kepler. So how does one actually become a monk? Well, First, there are three stages. The initial stage is to reduce attachment toward life. The second stage is the elimination of desire and attachment to this samsara. Then in the third stage, self-cherishing is eliminated. That's a quote by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Becoming a Buddhist monk or nun is a truly meaningful and worthwhile way to spend your life and to be of benefit to others. And we are very, very fortunate here that the monastic tradition started by the Buddha is still alive today, some 2,600 years later. Thanks to the effort and devotion of many thousands and thousands of monks and nuns in Asia, and then in America, most recently, we're very in our infancy in terms of Buddhism here. But over the past 25 years, and although there is a great benefit to becoming ordained, the life of a Buddhist monk or nun also carries a deep responsibility. It carries a profound responsibility for oneself and for others. So before making a decision to take ordination, one should have a thorough foundation in the teachings of the Buddha. The Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path, the stages of the path to enlightenment. Yong Su has completed many years of study, and it has been an honor to have been his teacher. When he became a Dharma teacher, it was so wonderful for me to see. And today I again have the honor of this ordination because throughout this period of time, one of the things I have learned is that Yong Su Mar Kepper has been my teacher. I have learned, I have grown as a Buddhist practitioner throughout the many, many hours and assignments we have spent together. We must realize that receiving the precepts, taking the Bodhisattva vows, taking the Dharma teacher vows, and taking monk vows are not something that we do lightly, because it is a lifelong commitment. You don't decide one day, you know what, I don't think I want to be a monk anymore. That is a violation of your monastic vows, of your Bodhisattva vows, of your Dharma teacher vows, to be of benefit to all sentient beings all the time. Relentless pursuit of being of benefit to all sentient beings all the time. What Yong Su is about to do here today is a weighty decision, one he has considered carefully, also considering the ramifications of these vows he is about to take. At this time, I would like to invite my assistant for the service today, Tong Jin Su, up to the stage. And I would also like to invite our honored guest today, Yong Su, Mark Kepper. Now, there are more people than usual in the temple today. There are 9 of us in the temple today, the first time in well over a year. There have been this many in the temple. Everybody is masked up and socially distanced, except for me. We are all vaccinated, and so we're doing everything within our power to make sure that the people involved in this service, Mark's honored guests, and Caleb and Dong Su and myself are safe. So, thank you, everyone. Yong Su, the Mahayana monk vows about to be taken here today emphasize the cultivation and observation of bodhicitta, which is the mental resolve to take responsibility for bringing happiness and enlightenment to all sentient beings out of love and compassion rather than self-interest. In that sense, it is referred to as the mind of enlightenment. Tibetan Buddhist monks take the vow of pradamoksa, or monk vows, with the attitude of bodhicitta. That is, the vows are taken and observed for the sake of all sentient beings, not just for your own liberation. Thus, a pradamoksa practitioner not only refrains from harming others, but also dedicates themselves to serving others. The vows include 3 divisions: refraining from harmful actions, amassing virtuous deeds, and the service to others. We will begin with amassing virtuous deeds by hearing your commitment to the 6 perfections. Yong Su, do you now commit yourself to a life of generosity toward all sentient beings, giving of word, deed, and property, which serves to lighten the load of others with joy and equanimity?
I do.
Do you now vow to uphold the moral disciplines upon which the Buddha often speaks, to be upright with compassion, which is the Buddhist path?
I do.
Do you now vow to exercise patience and mindful action toward all sentient beings to the best of your ability?
I do.
Do you now vow to practice diligence and perseverance in your interactions with all sentient beings?
I do.
Do you now vow to lead a life of contemplation and meditation, freeing the mind from all clutter in order to be open yourself for all possibilities along the Buddha's path?
I do.
Do you now vow to exercise mindful wisdom in your thoughts, words, and deeds toward yourself, your loved ones, your enemies, and friends, and all sentient beings?
I do.
And now you will take vows regarding bringing others to the Dharma in all you say and do. Do you now vow to be generous in the teachings of the Dharma, shining your light on all sentient beings, being open and loving to those who choose another path, and giving all that you have in order to spread the Dharma throughout this realm and all realms that will come after?
I do.
Do you vow to use pleasant, not harsh or harmful speech in your dissemination of the Dharma to all sentient beings?
I do.
Do you now vow to relentlessly pursue sharing the Dharma, never holding back but being bold in practicing and teaching in such a way that others are attracted to the path through you?
I do.
Do you vow to do all that is within your power to be mindful and diligent in your own life, as, like Lord Indra's net, your own behavior and demeanor reflect the one true Dharma throughout beginningless and endless time and space to all beings you encounter?
I do.
You have some words you would like to share with the Sangha.
I have a quote from the Tibetan practice of Lojong, which is mind training for compassion. Whenever I'm in the company of others, I will regard myself as the lowest among all, and from the depths of my heart, cherish others as supreme.
Now I would ask that you give 3 deep bows to the Buddha. Now I would ask that you give 3 deep bows to your friends and family. Now I would ask that you give 3 deep bows to the Sangha. Now I would ask that you give 3 deep bows to your teacher. Now I would ask that you give 3 deep bows to all sentient beings in the 10 directions. Yong Su has chosen to receive the mark of a monk. At each stage of the development along the Buddhist path, it is tradition that for those who would choose it, marks be given. The preceptors receive a burn from a stick of incense. The Bodhisattva class receives a burn from 3 sticks of incense. And a monk receives a different kind of a burn. It comes from a candle wick, which is attached to the person's arm, and it is burned down, and it does leave a mark. And I would highly recommend some A&D ointment after this is over, my friend. No. Yong Su, Mark Hepper. Having completed all requirements of service and instruction, having been approved by consensus by the Dharma Council, and had the opportunity to serve as your teacher on this journey, it is my honor and privilege to confer upon you the title of teaching monk and lineage holder. Here is your certificate of ordination as a teaching monk and lineage holder for the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple and Zen Center. This certificate has on it 104 names. It starts with Shakyamuni Buddha. It goes through the Indian ancestors, the Chinese ancestors, and the Korean ancestors, the last Korean ancestor being my teacher. I became the first American ancestor, and as my student, you are now next in line for the lineage. You are number 104. Okay, all the way back 2,564 years ago. Congratulations. It is my privilege and honor to introduce you to the newest teaching monk and lineage holder of the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple, the Venerable Yong Su, Mark Hepper.
Uncle asked me to talk a little bit about this experience and what it's meant to me. I picked the Lojong reflection because when I first came to this temple, my first teacher gave me a lesson about that. Now, I'm in recovery, most of you know that, and I sponsor people. And one of the things we work on is humility. And I always tell my guys, humility isn't too big, it isn't too small, it's right size. When I said that to my first teacher, he said, no, you're on a path that makes you the lowest among all. Now, that doesn't mean self-loathing or hate, no way. It means understanding that I have taken a commitment to be your servant. And there is no blind faith in Buddhism. Everything is about experience. The Buddha said, check it out, see if the experience works for you. The idea can get lost in a monk or any kind of teacher that you become more important than you really are. The image I like to use, and all of it, not just me, that's used, is the finger pointing to the moon. The moon is the enlightenment, the path, whatever you want to say. That's the path we go toward. I just have the finger. I am not the path. Do not any way, shape, or form start to worship me, because we have seen that happen. We have seen blind faith in a leader happen, and that's not it. And I charge you today with making sure But I don't do that because I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And what I say today, someday in the future, might get lost on me, and I need to be reminded. So I ask each and every one of you, remind me if that path starts to get, that I start to get off of that path. It's been an honor and a privilege to be with you through this whole process. And so now I think we'll close, and then we're going to go to virtual tea, and I'm going to visit with a whole bunch of my family and friends from California, Alabama, and here. Oh, right. All right. The closing gathas. Please stand. For all unskillful action ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thoughts, now I atone for them all. Vast is the robe of compassion, a formless field of benefaction. I wear the Buddha's teachings for the benefit of all sentient beings. All beings, one body, I vow to liberate. Endless blind passion, I vow to uproot. Dharma gates without number, I vow to penetrate. The great way of Buddha, I vow to attain. And I messed up when it's been over a year. I should have been facing the Buddha. So we'll face the Buddha now and give a bow. And then we give a bow to each other. So are there any announcements before we close?
Yeah, there are. As the Venerable Yong Su and I have both alluded to, we have not been in this temple for over a year. This is the most people that have been in this temple since last February. And it's still a very, very small group. The board of directors is working diligently at creating a reopening plan. So we don't want you to think that we're going to stay closed forever, but we will not reopen until it is safe to do so, based on the decision of the board of directors of the temple. Now, having said that, it's been an awfully long time not to meet as a Sangha in the temple. And as with any institution that relies on donations, the Grand Rapids Buddhist Temple has taken a significant hit during this time of COVID. Donations have dropped off significantly. No, we're not in trouble financially. The board has assured us all of that. But we rely on the donations of the Sangha and other patrons that we have in the community. So please give as you can, when you can. When you shop through Amazon, if you shop through the temple, you can click on the Amazon button on the temple's website, and a portion of that comes back to the temple from Amazon. So there are many ways to give. Right now, there's not a lot of volunteer opportunities, but please keep us in mind in your giving so that we can continue to maintain this wonderful temple in the heart of Grand Rapids. Thank you.